What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel, and I'm very excited to drop a new Madden 22 series here for you guys, and this is Flashback 10-Year Rebuilds. We are starting in Madden 12. That is what rosters we are playing with. We are going all the way to current day Madden 22, and during that period, hopefully, we build some dynasties, we build some juggernauts. And as voted on by you guys in yesterday's video, the first team you want to see start us off here in this series is the Detroit Lions. And I'm going to be honest with you, great time to pick the Detroit Lions. I totally get it. As a franchise, they've underachieved, but as a starting point, 2011, 2012, they were actually a very, very fun roster. Taking a look here with the big boys up front, we got Backus, Sims. Actually, let's just make sure we got our best lineup here. We got Jeff Backus, Leonard Davis, Dominic Raiola, three veterans. And on the other hand side, we have Sherlis and Sims, both with Stardust, both on the right side of 30. We have Ben Pettigrew, a former first-round pick. In that 2011 season, he had 700 receiving yards, so that's good enough for me, pulling a 78-star dev. Look at the rest of our skill position players. We had Javid Best at running back. He's kind of one of the what-ifs of the running back position because he had Olympic-level athleticism and speed, but he had injuries in the league, and he had a really serious injury while in college at Cal. He did like a diving front flip in the end zone, spiked himself on his head, was never quite the same. So hopefully we can make Javid Best into a freaking legend here for the Detroit Lions. Look at the rest of the skill position players. We have former Good Morning Football host Nate Burleson. We have Titus Young, who had some of the worst off the field issues and struggles that I've seen in my time, but he was a second-round pick at a Boise State and was very prolific in college. But you can't talk about prolific skill position players without mentoring, in my opinion, the most talented wide receiver I've ever seen, Megatron, Calvin Johnson, 99 superstar X Factor in that 2011 season. Calvin Johnson had 96 catches, 1,700 yards, and 16 touchdowns. So I hope to see that. Matt Stafford is a 92 superstar X Factor with a bazooka ability, and in that 2011 season, Matt Stafford went 10-6 as a starter, 5K passing yards, and 41 touchdowns. We are going to win a freaking Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, except this time it's not going to be in LA, it's going to be in the Motor City. Taking a look at the defense, pretty happy with the defense, all things considered. We're going to bump up rookie Nick Fairley, and remember Nick Fairley coming out of Auburn? Sky was the limit. This guy was a uber hyped up prospect, playing him alongside Ndamukong Suh, second-year player, 91 X Factor, one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant college football player on the defense side of the ball I've ever seen. Like, got to see him go from college into the league. Freak of nature, probably should have won the Heisman. We have Cliff Avril, who's a solid pass rusher in that 2011 season. He had 11 sacks, 6 forced fumbles. Rounding out the rest of the front seven, Durant, Stephen Tulloch, and DeAndre Levy. Levy pulling that superstar, man. I remember him. He was like the jack-of-all-trades linebacker. Could do it all, so I'm very happy with our front seven. Rest of it leaves a little less to be desired. Delmas here, 76-star dev, only 24. I think the best thing about our secondary is that generally they're on the right side of 25. Chris Houston here in that 2011 season. He had 5 picks, 14 pass breakups, so made a bunch of plays around the football. Same could be said for Eric Wright, who got the 77-star dev. He had 4 interceptions, 16 PBUs in that 2011 season. So we have some guys, we definitely have some holes on this squad that we're going to need to look to improve. I think in the secondary, I think we can get another pass rusher on the other side of Cliff Avril, and maybe getting a little bit younger on the offensive line. So that takes us to the draft class. Trip down memory lane. This is the 2013 draft class, and I'm assuming we're not going to be picking up here to get the Lane Johnsons, the Ziggy Ansah, who actually was the first round pick of the Detroit Lions that year. But kind of looking at what they have in the secondary at the safety department, not a lot in terms of first round. I mean, we got Kenny Vaccaro, Eric Reed, Matt Elam, Jonathan Cyprian. Those all could be guys that we kind of consider in the secondary. D. Milner, DJ Hayden. We got Desmond Trufant, Xavier Rhodes, Slay. We might have to try to make that pairing happen and bring Darius Slay, big play Slay, back to the Detroit Lions. But that is everything, kind of setting the tone here for year number 1. Now, it is a 10-year rebuild, so I might be cutting a couple of the things, trying to make it a little bit cleaner than what we do in our regular rebuilds, because the regular rebuilds are only 5 years, and they take like an hour to freaking put out in a video. I don't want that. I don't want you guys here for 2 hours. I'm going to try my best to make this as condensed while not feeling rushed as possible. So let's get into year number 1 of 10 here in 2012 with the Detroit Lions. Midway through season 1 of 10, we're 4-8, bottom dwellers in the North. not where we want to be. And I will say, I've kind of behind the scenes, I had to do a run through of this before just to test things out. And the first year we were dominant, made the playoffs, so it just shows you how random this freaking franchise is. But let's take a look at our contracts here. We actually have decent amount of salary cap, so I think we could pretty much sign whomever. First is Stephen Tulloch, 89 middle linebacker. I would like to get him on that 4-year deal, so we'll go see if we can just give him, you know, he costs a little bit more. 4 years, 44, and he does take that. We have Jeff Backers on the offensive line, and I've always just stressed, when you have decent linemen, just ride them into the ground, even if it's just a 1-year deal. We have DeAndre Levy, superstar. Let's give him 5-year, and we'll round those numbers up. 5 years, $74 million. And we're able to lock him into a new contract. Davis, I think we can probably move on there. We have some depth on the offensive line. We got Rob Sims. Yes, let's go that 3-year. Will you take that? He will take that. We have Corey Hilliard, who he's a depth guy. I think we might be able to swing him into tackle and maybe take over for Leonard. And he wants a little bit more money. That's fine. I'm sure we can reach an agreement. We have Cliff Avril coming out the edge. I'd like to give him a 4-year deal, 5-year deal potentially. I think there's a lot of upside still there, and we're able to lock him into a contract. We have a fullback. We run fullback, so we might as well have Keelan Williams. I'm not really familiar with him, but he looks pretty decent. So that is how we're going to do it. We'll come back to the table on old Hilliard, and that should be a good little, you know, pre-free agency business done by the Detroit Lions. Year 1 did not go down the way we wanted to. 6-11, bottom dwellers in the NFC North, but we got 9 more seasons, and the only way is up. The offense was phenomenal. 6 overall, the second best passing offense, but much like Matt Stafford's whole tenure with Detroit, the 27th ranked rushing offense. That's just not good enough. Take a look at the stats here. Matt Stafford was 2nd in yards. You love seeing that. Calvin Johnson, 2,000. Holy cannoli, you know? Shout out Chris Farley. My God, what a year from Matt Stafford. 5,400 passing yards, 36 touchdowns. We have 12 rushing touchdowns. Travis Best under a K, but when you throw it as much as we did, it's got to be tough to get 1,000 rushing yards. Megatron doing Megatron things. 126 receptions, almost 2,100 yards and 13 touchdowns. He might win MVP with those types of numbers. 900 yards, 4 touchdowns for the rookie Titus Young. 11 receiving touchdowns from Brandon Pettigrew. Decent performance there from Nate Burleson. On the defensive side, Stephen Tulloch was a monster. 125 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 interceptions. 18.5 sacks on 24 TFLs for Ndamukong Suh. DeAndre Levy, 25 TFLs. Those are just insane, absurd numbers. I would have liked to see maybe, again, we did talk about it. Maybe, just maybe, we need to reach for big play Slay in the draft, because we need someone that can make some turnovers, force some turnovers, make some big plays in the secondary. MVP went to Phillip Rivers. Matt Stafford at 6. And the utter disrespect for Calvin Johnson, not even showing up. He is wide receiver of the year. We have Ndamukong Suh, D lineman of the year. Jason Hanson at 79 years old is kicker of the year. But not the way we really wanted to close out year 1. But at least the good thing is Stafford and Megatron are monsters. We're going to be able to win a lot of games with them. We just got to build around them. Our roster as we close out the season, we welcome Matt Stafford into the 99 club alongside his fellow X-Factor teammate Calvin Johnson. And on the defensive side of the ball, we got a dev trait gained for Justin Durant, going from star to a superstar dev. Free agency this year is going to be a little bit of a push. Not really anybody, especially at the top end, that would be, you know, a screaming upgrade for us. And I just, you know, we got to have that money available for whenever it comes time to pay Matt Stafford and make sure Megatron stays in the building. But we will be super active in free agency outside of this, but we're not just going to spend money for the sake of spending money. There has to be upgrades, and this team just underperformed. It wasn't a bad roster. So it's time to start the draft. This is always the awkward / tough spot of doing these retro rebuilds, and it comes down to the fact of self-control. Because, like, what's preventing me from just picking all the steals? There's never been a perfect formula. What I'm going to do... Oh, actually, we could get Ziggy Ansah. That's oddly enough. That's kind of cool. What we are going to do is, I feel like the easiest way to prevent us from just self-preservation, if you will, to avoid drafting the studs. I don't know. This could always be something that we retool in the comments based off feedback. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the first and second round picks for this team every year. And then I'm just going to straight up sim it out. Generally, the sim will get your positions of needs after that. And if we so happen to draft players that'll be fine. Like, I won't be favoriting players. I won't be making up my board so that the behind the scenes we can get all the steals. I just feel like that's the fair way to do it. We'll probably get a lot of trash, but every now and again we might get a steal. But at least for the first 2 rounds, we can kind of navigate the waters there a little bit. So here in the first round, again, it comes down to the secondary, I believe, is where I really want to make a big jump at. And we will forego the actual first round selection of the Detroit Lions this year, which was Ziggy Ansah. And I just want to reunite, and it's not a reach. He's a first, second round projection. I want to reunite Slay with the Detroit Lions. Again, this is our little bit of wiggle room. I can do what I want in the first 2 rounds, especially when it makes sense, especially when we can kind of repeat history. And I'm very happy by bringing in Slay with the 6th overall pick in the 2013 draft. Oh boy, we're back again. All right, we have, again, because this is the draft order that is real life, well, let's make our selection here. We actually do need a wide receiver. That feels a little cheesy to get DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like, honestly, in this situation, it could be fun to take someone like Tavon Austin. Bobby Trees as well, but I think if we're going in the mold of a slot wide receiver, something that can complement what we have in Megatron, I think Tavon Austin is most likely that. And we are also a fit, and he is a hidden depth. So I already know that Tavon Austin clearly is not going to be as good as DeAndre Hopkins, but this is still pretty fun. He has a chance for us to develop, elevate to where he was going to be going, I guess. He was so freakishly good at West Virginia. If we were living in the moment, you'd probably still be taking Tavon Austin 10 times out of 10 at this spot over DeAndre Hopkins. It also helps that he's much better of a complement to what we have in Megatron. And with our last pick, user pick of the draft, I need a pass rusher that can go on the other side of Cliff Avril. And currently the only one that's like available without us jumping to conclusions is Tank Carradine. However, I'm going to go a little outside the box, go with the big bust from this year's draft class. Jarvis Jones was a terrific pass rusher at Georgia, will move into defensive end, and a massive opportunity to take a bust and make him into something. I don't know where he's going to be graded out as. He is hidden dev, which is a terrific starting point, but we have an opportunity here to career revive Jarvis Jones, another one of those what ifs, because he was so freaking good at Georgia, just could never put it all together for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the rest of his NFL career. Let's take a look at the draft recap. So with our picks, you can tell, man, we're just kind of picking and choosing. We picked Slade because we wanted him. We picked Tavon Austin because if you're like thinking in the moment, you're probably going in that direction. So Slay, 77 hidden dev. Tavon Austin, 69 hidden dev. Jarvis Jones, wow. Not good. We're getting punished, but at least he has the dev trait to try and turn his career around. Let's make him a right defensive end. I don't know if that's going to help his rating jump up any. Probably not, but we'll take any points that we get. In the third round, we got Manti Te'o. The computer drafted us. Manti Te'o. We got Kasim Green, Quentin Dial, and Tyler Wilson. You know what? I'll give Fuku. I'll take that every day of the week. Manti Te'o, I get it's a meme. I don't really know where he's going to fit in our linebacking core, but I'll take that every day of the week. 73 with a hidden dev. 4 hidden dev draft picks. Now, it was a little bit of an earlier year because we had 2 first-round selections, but it doesn't get much better than that to start this rebuild off. Now, let's get into year 2. Only changes in our roster from last season to this is we're going to give Big Play Slate the opportunity to start right away on the outside, as well as taking our other first-round draft pick, rookie Tavon Austin, and we're going to give him the start in the slot. First wave of free agency, I tried actually just bumping Megatron's deal up to 7 years. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm sure we'll get that locked up, but I will come back to this if he, in fact, tells us he wants to go to free agency. But we got Cherilus and Backus signed up. There's just no way I can pay Durant that. He is a off-ball linebacker, not a pass rusher. I'm sorry, $147 million. Yeah, we can replace that. Chris Houston is one that I'm a little bit on the fence about. I feel like that's a little expensive for a guy that's pretty close to his ceiling. I do think Spivey, again, another one. He's on normal dev. No dev trade scenarios. Looking for $51 million. Seems a little more expensive. Like in these rebuilds, especially in comparison to the 5-year rebuilds, we got to think a little bit more about our salary cap because, you know, the cap hell that we can kind of avoid when we get in and out in 5 years, you don't get that luxury when it's a 10-year rebuild. So we're going to be, you know, a little bit conscientious with who we sign. I got Louis Delmas back here, though. Star dev, 25. He's going to be a solid, you know, starter for us with, you know, room to grow for sure. So we're going to pay Calvin Johnson whatever he wants. Everyone else, we good. Year 2, unfortunately, didn't end much better than year 1. We're still 4th place in the NFC North, even though I know statistically we have some absolute ballers, so we're kind of the Detroit Lions in real life. We're going to need to buck that trend as soon as we can. Another big year to Matt Stafford, 5,200 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, only 10 picks, 1,100 rushing yards, 23 touchdowns for Javid Best. That's pretty good. I don't know if that'll be dev trade territory for him. He's stuck on that star dev. But, I mean, hey, dev trader regardless. I'll take that in my offense every single year. 1,700 yards on 100 catches and 18 touchdowns for Megatron. 12-3 for Titus Young. 11-7 for the rookie first-round pick, Tavon Austin, who was one of the most unstoppable players in college football at West Virginia. Solid year there from Pettigrew. And on the defensive side, massive tackle, the leading tackler in the NFL, DeAndre Levy, 161 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 interceptions. We have 15 sacks, 24 TFLs for Ndamukong Suh. I mean, even, all across the board, those are very good numbers for our top 3 pass rushers. And Chris Houston, 4 interceptions. Slay in his rookie year, 92 tackles and 1 interception. I cannot talk. Yearly awards, very quickly. MVP went to Phillip Rivers. And in the NFC, we'll just quickly look for some Lions. Offensive rookie of the year did go to Tavon Austin. Wide receiver of the year went to Calvin Johnson. D lineman went to Ndamukong Suh. And I'm happy with the individual success, but the team success through 2 years has been depressing. And in turn of dev traits, big season for the Detroit Lions on the defensive side of the ball. Chris Houston, who is going to get a contract offer, went up to superstar. Cliff Avril went up to superstar. Darius Slay came out as a superstar, which is not really that surprising. Manti Te'o came out as a star, but DeAndre Levy is now up into the X Factor club. Welcome, we're gonna need ya. It's a lot of money, but I will pay Chris Houston 1 year, $15 million to get his superstar, so fuck you. Some interesting names in free agency, but again, I want to be a little conscientious with their salary cap, and more so, I like having a hole or two phrasing as we go into the draft, because then it's like, I like having, not necessarily BPA. BPA kind of crushes the fun out of Madden drafts. I like to know, like, right now, going to the draft, I need a strong safety. I could be forced into getting a guy that we know kind of sucks, but that's kind of the nature of the beast versus paying Morgan not that much money. And more so, I'm just going to be incredibly frugal with my money until it's time to pay Matt Stafford. It was a 5-year rebuild. I'll be playing and operating on that rookie deal for Stafford, which I don't even know that the rosters are super accurate because that was way before the rookie scaling. Stafford got a bag when he got drafted, right? But knowing that I'm going to have to pay Stafford, that's still our top priority because it's going to be $200 million. $300 million, $400 million probably, because he's going to be a 99 superstar X Factor quarterback that's like 20 years old. So, end of the story is our team's stacked, not a lot of holes. Here's some names to look at. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, let's go to the draft. So speaking of the draft, just a quick preview of the class, because I don't even think I did this, just a quick refresher. It's the Clowney year. Very strong draft class, which we don't have. We're going to be missing a lot of the good guys. I think we're picking in the mid to late teens. That freak of nature could be there. But again, I think we're going to be very much, we have Ndamukong Suh and we have, Fairley. We're not drafting him. But we need a safety, the top safeties in this year's draft class. We have Dayon Buchanan, Jimmy Ward, our first rounders at strong safety. At free safety of Calvin Pryor, HaHa Clinton-Dix, and LaMarcus Joyner. We probably go HaHa Clinton-Dix, and we could take the honest approach of, that's who we scouted. We'd probably take him anyways. But not the greatest draft class, especially in the safety department. Oh, yeah, the Jared Goff trade. We have another year of a lot of first-round picks. Don't blame me. Blame everybody that picked Detroit, okay? That's all I can say on the matter. I am only here making the picks that I have to. And looking at our team, okay, we could go offense. We could go wide receiver or center. And on the defensive side of the ball, we could still probably go pass rusher if we wanted to. We could look at, obviously we need a safety. We could look at another corner. That's probably what we need. We need a corner and we need a safety. So at picks 2 and 12, we're going to try to address those needs. That's my promise. I won't just go ridiculous, even though we have the number 2 overall pick and guys like Khalil Mack and if we want to go wide receiver, actually, ooh. Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans, OBJ. I mean, in my opinion, Mike Evans is on the board. If I'm going back in the mindset, this is when I actually started making draft content. I was very much Mike Evans over Sammy Watkins. We got Kyle Fuller at corner, Justin Gilbert, Darquez Denard. And we got a couple first-round safeties here. I think we got to go corner. We could go, you know, reclamation product. We'll go with the #1 corner on the big board. That's the easiest way to go with it. We know he's going to be fairly freaking good. And we're going to start this draft off with Kyle Fuller. Now we are going to get our safety at pick 12, and you don't even need to act like, oh, you know he's good, you know he's bad. We're going to trust our scouting. If this was random players, we would go with safety 2 on the big board every day of the week. So we are going to draft Clinton Dix from Alabama. You know, actually wouldn't pass the sniff test if I was just picking him blindly, not in the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle, but pull the trick on him nonetheless. And I think this is the last year we'll have double first-round picks because of, obviously, the Jared Goff trade. This is our last pick for the draft in the second round before we submit. You might say, C4, why didn't you just trade the picks back to the Rams? And I say, the Rams don't like draft picks. That's their motto in real life. F them picks, so I'm not giving them back. And also, I just for 100% forgot both times. True story. All right, so for our last spot, we're looking at center or wide receiver. And looking into the second round, Weston Richburg had a decent career in the NFL. That looks like a solid pick. In comparison, we got wide receivers. We got Marquise Lee, Cody Latimer. Because of where we're at, we allow us, if there's a 2 in there, we could consider the player. Devontae Adams, Jarvis Landry. We probably would still take Marquise Lee given that time. But actually, we're going to focus on the center spot. Let's grab Weston Richburg out of Colorado State. Should have a decent rating. Take a look at the draft recap. We made our first picks. And then after that, we sim it out. So Fuller, hidden dev. Clinton Dix, hidden dev. 74 and 70. Richburg, 68. Oh, we got Gabe Jackson. He's had a nice career. In the third round, we got Bruce Ellington in the 4th, Charles Sims in the 5th, and Josh Wells in the 6th. Not a bad draft at all. Did Jackson have a dev? And he has a dev. God bless the computer. They got us Gabe Jackson and Manti Te'o so far. Home run. CPU is pulling for the Lions. 4 free agents here. Not going to re-sign anyone. Pettigrew's the only guy that's kind of interesting me, but then he's very, very close to his ceiling. So at least another year of no big spending so that we can pay Matt Stafford. At the end of year 3, 11-6, not last, and we made the playoffs. It only took us having Matt Stafford 5,700 passing yards, 51 touchdowns. Calvin Johnson with 16 touchdowns. Ndamukong Suh with 26 sacks and 20 TFLs. That's all it took for us to squeak into the playoffs as second place in our own division. A massive year for Matt Stafford. MVP caliber type season. 5,700 passing yards, 51 touchdowns, under 10 receptions, 15 rushing touchdowns. Javid Best. Wow. That's a lot of ones for the receptions for Calvin Johnson. Megatron, 1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns. Almost 13 and 12, Tavon Austin. 11 and 6, Titus Young. 13 touchdowns from Pettigrew. But I kind of think with how this offense rolls, we can put any decent tight end will be able to produce like Brandon Pettigrew. Defensively, Tulloch, a tackle machine. Levy, tackle machine, right over 100 tackles. An absurd year. Defensive player of the year, gotta be for Ndamukong Suh. That is terrifying, and I'm so happy as a lifelong Ndamukong Suh fan that he is absolutely ripping this up. 4 interceptions for big play Slay leading the team, and this is an exceptional year from the Detroit Lions. Yearly awards MVP went to Matthew Stafford, and the NFC gets Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Ndamukong Suh. We also have Best QB, Matt Stafford. We have Best Wide Receiver, Calvin Johnson. We have Best D Lineman, Ndamukong Suh. And we have a playoff matchup here in the wild card round against the 12-5 Seattle Seahawks. They've kind of turned around. I remember year 1, they had Tavares Jackson as their starting quarterback. And they have a playoff victory over the MVP, who's one and done in the first round, 24-17. And it is Tavares Jackson. Brutal. So because I'm annoyed right now, I have taken all of the points we've got from Matt Stafford winning the MVP. We have pumped it into the improviser upgrade. And just because I have given him the old escape artist. As far as dev traits are concerned, Tavon Austin has gone up to superstar. So we're kind of achieving our goal of making him really live up to the hype that he had leaving college. On the defensive side of the ball, Clinton Dix came out star. Kyle Fuller, top, what do we get him at, 6? Came out superstar, which I'm kind of happy about, little surprise. And Louis Delmas went from star to superstar in the season. This team is becoming a juggernaut. Let's start winning. Free agency this year, I think free agency's got to be a little bit of a taking a back seat in this rebuild, because a lot of times when we have holes, we're going to want to try to finish them in and address them in the draft. Looking at my team, we need a left tackle. Jeff Backus has retired. And, I mean, there's a veteran there, Michael Roos. But again, I think we might be able to draft someone. If not, we take Hilliard, who started as a right tackle, moving to left tackle, and have Gabe Jackson, 73 star, take over that left guard spot. But other than that, again, unless there's a really perfect fit free agent, I don't think I'm going to be spending a lot of money here. All right, this rebuild's going to be where, you know, this draft is going to be a rough draft. We need a tight end mostly, or a left tackle, or just anyone that could come in and eventually play tackle. There's no first-round grade tight ends, and it's not really a strong tight end. Like Uzuma, if we can get him then, would be pretty good. Going on beyond that, it's just not a lot there. As you look at the tackle spot, there are first-round tackles that you would pull the trigger on if you very much need a tackle. We have Eric Flowers and Andrews Pete are the big two. I'm trying to think back to this year if there was a consensus, like, top tackle. You know, I probably would have biasedly go DJ Humphries, but DJ Humphries I don't think was, like, consensus one. Havenstein there, but he's out of the first round. So I just think all things considered, I think I'll go Andrews Pete just cause I've never been a big Eric Flowers guy. And look at that. Andrews Pete comes with the dev trait. And now I'm looking for a tight end. And here's where I think I'm going to get a little creative. This is my final pick. We have Jeff Heuerman, Tyler Croft as like the two actual tight ends we could pick. But we also have two tight ends at wide receivers. That we have DGB, who I mean, doesn't have a scan or anything like that. But we also have Devin Funchess. And I think what could be kind of cool is I want to get Devin Funchess at 6'4", 230. And I want to make him a tight end. I want to change his career path around. And we get the dev trade on Devin Funchess. Has he ever had a dev trade in Madden? I feel like he's always been kind of like a normal dev guy, but I'll take it. Not my draft classes. So take a look at our draft recap. Definitely didn't get hooked up here today. We got Andrews Pete, 72 hidden dev. Devin Funchess, 63. Did have the hidden dev, and usually when you take a wide receiver and move them to tight end, they do jump up a little bit. Don't know the extent that Funchess is going to move up, but it should be 66, 67. Or nothing. Just doesn't move up any. Then the computer got us Tyler Croft, who's a 56. Isn't he still in the league? That seems a little low. Florida Gator Max Garcia, and then we got a bunch of guys don't even have faces. So yeah, a little bit of a rough draft here for your Detroit Lions. So we're free agent this year. A little bit, you know, it's focused. We got Rob Sims locked up. I think we're going to let Titus Young walk. I think we can always kind of keep replenishing the receivers there. But we're going to get Rob Sims at right guard. We got him locked up. Javid Best on a 5-year deal, but now it's time to pay Stafford. He's looking for 7 years, which would pretty much keep him for the remainder of the rebuild, which is exactly what we want. But that is $39 million cap hit for our quarterback going forward. That's tough to build around, you know? So then in year 4, we get our first divisional title, 14-3, kind of handling business there. Take a look at our team. We had 2 new players that weren't players that you saw, you know, 4 minutes ago. Andrews Pete is chilling at an 82 star. Devin Funchess, 78 star. But that's with a big +4 boost, so he's more like a 74 star. We had no breakouts or anything like that on offense or defense. But let's see what we did to achieve this 14-3. We didn't get the number 1 seed, which kind of sucks. But look at that, top of the leaderboard. Matt Stafford, 5,100 yards, 43 touchdowns. First in yards, second in touchdowns. Stafford is an absolute god. 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns for Javid Best. 12-12, Calvin Johnson. 11-6, Titus Young. 11-7, Tavon Austin. Devin Funchess has a rookie tight end. 88 catches, 950 yards, 10 touchdowns. That is a hell of a rookie season for Mr. Funchess. Manti Te'o led the team in tackles with 130. 19 sacks of Ndamukong Suh, 14.5 from Cliff Avril, Levy, and Fairley with 6 apiece, plus a bunch of TFLs. Clinton Dix led the team with 4 interceptions. Really happy with all these numbers kind of across the board. MVP goes to Matt Stafford, beating out Marshawn Lynch and Frank Gore. Finally, rightfully so, Offensive Player of the Year is also Matt Stafford. Devin Funchess is the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Matt Stafford is the top quarterback. That is it for our team, but I will take that. Our first divisional title, our first Super Bowl for what is probably the most overpowered quarterback in the league. We were runner-up before, but we've never actually won it. Can we get our first playoff victory? We're 0-1 in playoff games for the Detroit Lions. Does the drought continue? It does not. They handle business 28-9 over the Arizona Cardinals. Rightfully so, man. This team's a juggernaut. I mean, it wasn't really an MVP-like performance from Matt Stafford. We got a lot of rushing yards. Calvin Johnson was unstoppable. We got some pressure. We got no turnovers, but at least we got a playoff victory. The next round, we're taking on the 12-5. But who the hell is the 1 seed? Unless they already lost. We got our first playoff victory. We got an MVP quarterback. This could be a year, and look at that. Puts ourselves in the NFC Championship game. 37-7. We absolutely smoked the Bucs to set up this matchup here against the Eagles. Maybe this was more of an MVP-like performance from Matt Stafford. It was 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Josh Freeman, 2 picks. We already know that Bucs offense is probably why they're there. Not so much the talent they have. This is a double-edged sword, but come on, man, I'll take this. Let's kick the shit out of Philly and go to the Super Bowl. Okay. Lost by a field goal. And it's, of course, an Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl. Touchdown, a pick. Michael Vick, touchdown, and a pick. There you go. That's your assessment for this matchup. In terms of dev traits gained this season, go to next year. Manti Te'o is up to superstar. And that is all we really gained here. Calvin Johnson also regressed for the first time, but luckily we had enough bank skill points to get him right back up to a 99, but that just makes no sense. It's because he's 29, and shout out to the Eagles for winning Super Bowl. It's another year, not anything in free. Like, I'm looking like, we need a wide receiver. The top wide receiver is the guy we let walk, and or a slot replacement. We have Tavon Austin in the slot. It's just not really going to work out. I could use a pass rusher potentially on the other side, maybe upgrade over Jarvis Jones. He's not getting a lot of production. Yeah, there's just a very light edge rush class. So again, man, I told you, we will spend money if it makes sense. And it's, we're going on year 5, and there has been one free agent that made sense for our team. I have 2 needs coming in this draft. I need wide receiver and corner. Luckily, those are both fairly plentiful. Wide receivers that are available, we have Sterling Shepard and Michael Thomas. Or potentially, if we go corner, we might be able to get Tyler Boyd with our 2nd-round pick, which would be kind of cool. Or Braxton Miller, which is in that revival territory of like electrifying college player. I mean, those are both some absolute dogs at wide receiver. Who do we got available at corner? We need another play. Ooh, Xavier Howard. If we don't get him, it'd be more so you're hoping that James Bradbury is still there. Kendall Fuller. Get the Fuller brothers. That could actually be kind of dope. All right, we'll go, we went Andrews Pete over Eric Flowers last time, and I think given this squad, oh, man. But we don't need a slot. I straight up didn't want to sign a wide receiver because we had Tavon Austin in the slot. Michael Thomas, slot wide receiver. That's his profile. So we'll grab Sterling Shepard in the 1st round, and hopefully in the 2nd round get a really, really nice corner still on the board. Man, you can't write this up. James Bradbury right there. Probably couldn't ask for a better corner. But just because of the brothers' standpoint, right? They're related. Kendall Fuller, Kyle Fuller. Let's do it, man. Let's reunite them. We probably just got 2 star depth players. That's fine. That's fine. That's average. If we were doing a regular even, I get about 2 or 3 a draft anyways. The rest of our draft outside of that was, not bad. I mean, BJ Goodson, 73. That's a high rating. Really high rating for him, especially. I think he's kind of been like a special teamer. But normal dev, we got John Theus, Tyler Irvin, Ryan Smith, and Ricardo Lewis. But again, those first 2 picks, very, very happy with those. I'm kind of glad that we're not in a rhythm of let's try turning busts around. Getting some good talent here. This is our usual ending point. We are geared up for year 5, so here's a nice little refresher where the squad is at. Pete, Jackson, Richburg, Sims, and Sherless upside. We have Funchess making the transition from wide receiver to tight end nicely. Megatron, Sterling Shepard, and Tavon Austin are our wide receiver core. Javid Best has yet to go up dev trait, but he's still an absolute baller. Matt Stafford's the best quarterback in the NFL. Flipping to the defense, Avril, Farrelly, Suh, and Jones are a dominant D-line, especially from the inside, man. Suh's a beast. Levy, Tulloch, and Te'o also are very good players, especially Levy, obviously, is an X factor. Tulloch, surprised again, much like, Javid Best, no dev trait scenarios or anything like that. Clinton Dixon, Delmas at safety. You're happy with that. Slay, Fuller, and Fuller. Let's get that Super Bowl this year. For free agency, we offered Ndamukong Suh 5-year, $100 million. He wants a little bit more. I'm going to make that happen. He's not leaving. I do think, though, it is time to move on. Tulloch, Sherless. I mean, let's put it this way. If Sherless takes this 1-year deal, I'll be happy with it. He actually does, so that's nice. That's the year we don't have to worry about getting tackled. We got Fairley, we got Manti Te'o re-sign. I think we're going to let Jarvis Jones walk. Haven't quite got the production, haven't quite revived his career, but I mean, he's a nice player, 80-star. But yeah, we'll definitely extend Ndamukong Suh here mid-season. So year 5, we come tied for first in the NFC North, but they give Green Bay the title. We get a rematch from the NFC Championship game against Philly. Taking a look at the stats, Matt Stafford, oh my God. Matt Stafford's just cheat code. Touchdowns dropped off a little bit this year, though. Yards are on point. 20 touchdowns, Javid Vest. That's probably why. We had a lot more rushing touchdowns. 1,600 yards, 9 touchdowns for Calvin Johnson, 122 catches, 12-4. Tavon, 1,004 for the rookie Sterling Shepard. 8-7 Devin Funchess. I'll take that. Defensively, Levy, bunch of tackles. We had 11.5 sacks. Ndamukong Suh, 9.5 Jarvis Jones. Of course, open this up to conspiracy theory. Do you guys think when guys are in contract years, they play better? I mean, maybe that's kind of trying to simulate realism a little bit, but I was just, I don't know. 3 picks, big play, Slay. Here the awards, MVP went to Cam Newton. And for your beloved Detroit Lions, absolutely nothing. A little bit of a slow year from the honor standpoint, but it was a battle here in the NFC North. We made the playoffs. It is time to avenge our playoff loss from last season against the Eagles. And we do exactly that, 36-29. We handle business in the opening round in this big matchup. Matt Stafford turns back. I mean, just a great battle between Michael Vick and Matthew Stafford. But Stafford edges him out, and we continue on here on this playoff journey in year 5. We earned the right to take on the 15-2 unstoppable Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton learned how to throw the football at an elite level, apparently. But we handle business. Very nice, setting up a perfect Super Bowl matchup. The battle of the 9-8 NFC North. Get to see who the best team is right away. Unfortunately, Green Bay has kind of had our number. Green Bay and the Bears. Since I've been simming this, but they've always seemed to get the best of us. But look, Matt Stafford is nuclear right now. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, takes down the MVP, takes down the 1 seed. It is time. Is it time? Question mark. For the Lions to make their first Super Bowl of this rebuild, and yes, it is. Setting up a matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, 34-21. It is destiny that we are going to do this. Stafford didn't have the best of games. Shepard did. Tavon, 2 touchdowns. Defensively, Levy, 12 tackles, had a pick. Let's go. We're taking on the Baltimore Ravens, and I've personally been, again, I don't want this video to be like 9 hours long, but I do, at least in the Super Bowl, want to see what we're going against. Flacco's 94, Ray Rice 99. They got Torrey Smith, Will Fuller, Pettigrew, our old tight end, Gaither. Oh, this is just taking way too long. What do you got for star power? Yonda's still there, 98. I think I saw Haloti Ngata coming off 17 sacks this season. They got the Man Mountain, Terrence Cody. Ray Lewis, I think he's still here, but he's super old. T. Sizzle, 99. Jimmy Smith, Ladarius Webb in the secondary, as well as Kenny Vaccaro and the monster, man, the Patriot killer, Bernard Pollard. This is going to be a very difficult matchup, but I think if we win the Super Bowl, it's going to mean that much more because we're not beating like a 9-18. We're going the Eli Manning route, scrap it into the playoffs, and we're going to take down a juggernaut team. Year 5, like a traditional rebuild, they're trying to pull off the impossible, even though we still have 5 more freaking seasons left. Baltimore gets the opening score. I'm not confident seeing how easy they move the ball. Come on, they got Joe Flacco under center. We have a perennial MVP candidate in Matt Stafford, and we have 0 points. There we go, finally getting on the board. But we're going to be looking like it's going down 10 into the second half. We are, I don't know, man. We forced the turnover, and we have to settle for a field goal. That's kind of the nature of the beast here. Force a red zone. Oh, it's tied up. Oh, my God. Where are the points? Dude. I mean, the Ravens have a crazy defense, I suppose. But we have a crazy offense, and that is fucking shocking, dude. No other way around it. That is brutal. No, we already decided to let him walk, but just... Of course, Jarvis, out of nowhere, has a somewhat decent year. I think we got it. I'm going to at least offer him that. I feel like going up to superstar, had finally, We made the comment, do you feel like guys in contract years play? And he does, and we got him a 3-year deal. Hopefully this, like, just impulsive contract doesn't come back to bite us. Will be said as we go through our free agents. If I had more money, and if we didn't extend Jarvis Jones, I actually think I would have spent money here and tried to get Alec Ogletree and then just kick him inside the middle linebacker, where we're moving on from Stephen Tulloch. But hey, at least we go into the draft knowing we need a middle linebacker. Everywhere else, our team's set. For the linebackers in this year's draft class, we have Hassan Reddick. I mean, getting more of a pass rusher. Jared Davis, Reuben Foster could be our first 2 shots at one. TJ Watt on the other, again, not a middle linebacker. Zach Cunningham could get into the area code, though, of moving into middle linebacker. At least we have some options here this season. So we're going to this draft. I got 2 positions I want to kind of focus on for our first 2 picks. One is obviously the linebacker spot, where Zach Cunningham makes sense if he's still there in the 2nd round. Raekwon McMillan makes sense if he's there in the 2nd round. I mean, even Duke Riley, I suppose. But we also need a running back. I think Javis Best, running backs start to regress. We don't even have an RB2. And the running backs are absolutely cheesy if we wait to the 2nd round. Even though for some reason we're getting the NAs and the classes are all, whatever. You can fix those. But James Conner's here. I feel like he's the lesser of 2 evils. He's the more complimented Javis Best. And we can get him here with that 1st, 2nd round projection. So we're going to grab James Conner in the 1st and then the best linebacker available in the 2nd. That's pretty dope. Zach Cunningham is still on the board in the 2nd round. So we're going to draft him, and he is going to be our starting middle linebacker. Take a look at our draft recap here. We got James Conner, Zach Cunningham. The computer hooked us up with Eddie Jackson. That's pretty dope. Gives us something to think about. I did not pick up the 5th-year option on Clinton Dix. I was more so because I'd rather just extend him because safety contracts are ridiculous. But now maybe we have a successor. We got Anthony Walker Jr. here, 70. This is a glitch. Connor McDermott, he's not 77 for some reason, so he's 64. Saubert, 69. Shelton Gibson, get a little bit of speed back there in the 7th round. But anytime, that's twice. The computer has hooked us up when we just sim it out after the first 2 picks. We got Manti Te'o in our very first draft, and they're coming back again with Eddie Jackson, who's hidden dev. So going to free agency again when you're, now we're going into year 6, going beyond the breaking point of our usual rebuilds. It's a give and take. So we got DeAndre Lovely back, X Factor. We got Darius Slay back, still in his prime. We got Sherless and Sims on just 1-year deal, not long-term commitments. Just might hinder us a little bit being active this free agency, but both these guys 88, 89 respectively. I was on the fence about Tavon Austin, but I was like, you know what? He's one of our success stories. Why not keep it going here? But I think someone like Cliff Avril, he's up and down with his production. I feel like he's only going to regress now. We could probably better spend that money elsewhere. Clinton Dix has been pretty solid. Obviously 24.85, that's great, but with the computer drafting us Eddie Jackson, I feel like this is an opportunity again just to save a little bit of that money and kick it down the road. We did extend Gabe Jackson, 26 star dev guard. I might do Richburg, but I feel like we could probably keep on keeping on there at the center spot. So some tough cuts, some tough calls, but happy with the guys we're able to re-sign. We still have about $30-40 million of salary cap. Year 6, aka Madden 17. We have made the playoffs again, 11-6, 2nd place North. Man, just can't squeak past the Green Bay Packers to really establish ourselves as the dominant team in the division. Still a great year for Matt Stafford. Pretty much just craps out 5,000-yard passing seasons, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks. 9-10 there for Javid Best, 7 vultures from Connor. I'm glad he was able to get some touches. 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, Calvin Johnson. 12-12, Tavon. 1,007 for Shepard. 8-6 for Devin Funchess on the defensive side of the ball. Manti Te'o, tackle machine. 16.5 sacks from Levy, using him a little bit more as a pass rusher. 13 from Avril, 10.5 from Ndamukong Suh, 8 from Fairley. Happy with that. Interception numbers maybe a little bit on the low side. Yearly Awards MVP went to Aaron Rodgers. And just seeing if we have any beloved Detroit Lions up here in the mix. That's a lot of Green Bay. A lot of Green Bay. But last year, we made the playoffs, lost in the Super Bowl. We had to run the gauntlet here this season. But I'm confident we could start out with a victory here against the 49ers and go and get back to that. Fuck, we lost. God damn it. But a roster at the end of the season, James Conner came out as a star. No dev traits on the offense. On the defensive side, Zach Cunningham came out star. Eddie Jackson came out star. He will be our starter at strong safety to let Clinton Dix hit free agency. Yeah, no dev traits, but again, this team's just super talented. We'll be back. We'll be back in the playoffs next year. So I know we've been very cheap in free agency. I know there's some people that probably like to see rebuilds that feature heavily in free agency. I'll shout out to McAfee there for the brand. Well, you know what? We'll throw him an offer. Might as well see if we can try to get AJ Hawk while we're at it. We haven't been spending any money in free agency. Well, going for it this year. Going for Khalil Mack. Come on, baby. Top bid. Come on. Come to Dad. Come to Papa. Well, we tried. We got McAfee for what that's worth, but we did not get Khalil Mack, so we go into this draft needing a pass rusher and a center. So knowing that we need edge rusher and or center, look at the edge rushers that are available in the first round because we're not going to reach. BJ Hill, Rasheem Green. We have Sam Hubbard. Harold Landry potentially could be an edge rusher, but in this situation, there's a clear-cut center. Only one first-round grade center. We need it. We also know it's not a cheesy pick. He wasn't the best. He might get a dev, potentially. Don't know what this draft class is, but we're going to grab a Billy Price. Oh, no! Normal dev. That's our first normal dev pick, I think, of this whole... I mean, we were due. We were due. At least the best available pass rusher. I don't know why Marcus Davenport's day 3. He was a first-round pick. I believe the Saints traded 2 first-round picks to get him. But we have Josh Sweat here still on the board. Fits within our parameters. I'd be happy bringing him on. See if we can develop him as a little bit of a pass rusher. Might have a dev. Don't know. He does. Let's go. Welcome to Detroit. Let's sim out the rest of this draft. See if the computer hooks us up. The computer did okay. We got Josh Sweat, 73 as our lone hidden dev. Billy Price, 70 normal. We got Keith Kirkwood. We got Josh Jackson. I don't hate that in the 4th round, 71. Antonio Callaway. Some off the field issues, but on field, he was really good at Florida. Brandon Parker and Marquise Haynes. But happy we have a new starting center and developmental pass rusher. Going into year 7, big changes for our offense. Not a lot outside of Billy Price being our brand new center. Everything else kind of returns to usual. No dev traits or regression or anything like that. On the defensive side, Jones is coming back now as a superstar, so let's see if he can complete his career redemption. Zach Cunningham is our middle linebacker. He's 81 star. Eddie Jackson's our new strong safety. He's 77 star. Josh Sweat already put the work in the offseason, already enabled and unlocked his dev trait. He's 73 star, so I'm optimistic he and Jarvis Jones can just let Ndamukong Suh do all the work, you know? For in-house free agents, we actually got like 2 absolute steals of contracts. I think we got Kyle Fuller. We got him for $44 million. We got him about a cut rate deal for a 90 superstar. Andrews, look at that, 2 years for a star 24. Like, there's going to be something wrong with that contract. But we got Andrews Pete locked up. We got Rob Sims back on a 1 year. We're going to let Delmas hit the open market. We're going to bring back Sherless on a 1 year. We're going to bring back Funchess on a big contract extension, trying to continue his development and establish himself as a tight end. So really, the only guy we're letting walk that's of any note is Louis Delmas. Year 7, more of just kind of being the little brother of the Packers again. Tied 11-6. At least we get the final right away in the wild card who the best team is. But they are really hurting our old divisional championships that we're trying to keep track of. Again, Matt Stafford, phenomenal. Tavon Austin actually had a little bit of a breakout this season as well. Looking at the stats, Matt Stafford was 1st in yards, 5th in touchdowns. Another 40 bomb for him on 5,400 passing yards, 12 rushing touchdowns, best 9 from James Conner, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, Tavon Austin, 11-8 for Megatron, 1,003 for tight end Devin Funchess, so I'm glad we extended his contract just under 1,000 yards for Sterling Shepard. Zach Cunningham led the team on 130 tackles. We had 17.5 sacks, 27 TFLs for Ndamukong Suh. That might be Defensive Player of the Year. 10 sacks for Jarvis Jones, 9 for DeAndre Levy, 6.5 there for Nick Fairley, 4 picks, Eddie Jackson in his first year as a starter, and 100 tackles. That could put him into dev trade increase territory. 3 picks, Darius Slay, 2 for Kyle Fuller, who got himself a new contract. Yearly Awards MVP went to Mark Ingram. Matt Stafford, the runner-up there, unfortunately. Unbelievable. Look at the awards. Not seeing any of our beloved Detroit Lions. Something named Swayze Waters is kicker of the year. Let's go into playoffs. Find out right away. Are we better than Green Bay? Or do we still have some work to do? AK, they still have Aaron Rodgers. And, we beat them! 27-21. We get the playoff victory in this matchup. That one, did it go to overtime? It did. Overtime. Beautiful. Both quarterbacks going to war there. For us, best with the touchdown. Big game for Funchess and Megatron. Huge game. Game ball to Ndamukong Suh. 8 tackles, 3 TFLs, 4 sacks, and the Lions are moving on. All right, we have the 10-7 Seahawks. They're pretty good. 92 Legion of Boom. Still got the defense there together. Can they contain Megatron? Can they contain Matt Stafford, who's playing at an S tier level? They cannot, and it sets up a championship game against the Commanders. Alrighty, but in this matchup, we handle business 35-14. Clearly the better team. 2 touchdowns, no picks for Matt Stafford. Big game from Javid Best. 2 rushing touchdowns, almost 100 yards. Jarvis Jones and Ndamukong Suh has 6 sacks in 2 games. Let's freaking go. I mean, they're not bad, but they're also, I mean, they got Kerrigan there, 14 sacks. Sure, I mean, usually these matchups you do tend to lose when you're overwhelmingly the favorite, so I'm prepared for anything. But we get a modest victory, 21-14, and we are in our 2nd Super Bowl in this rebuild, and it sets it up against the Jets. Let's get a very, very quick look at the snapshot from that championship game as we stand your NFC champions. The 2nd time we have done that in this rebuild. Clean game from Stafford. They have Carson Wentz, actually. That's weird that they actually kind of got him. But, you know, looks like there's just like kind of clean game. Had a turnover there. Kendall Fuller happy with it. But it sets up a Super Bowl matchup against the New York Jets. And before we hop into that matchup, I really do want to see what are the Jets working with? What are they at this point? Obviously, all these teams are going to look nothing like they do in real life. They got Mark Sanchez, Jeremy Hill, Corey Coleman, Aurelius Ben, DeBrickashaw Ferguson. One of their best players, Vlad Dukas, 97, Mo Wilkerson, 99, Frank Clark there, Ruben, Shaq Thompson, David Harris, Leighton Vander Esch, still got Revis Island, Marshawn Lattimore, Eric Reed. This is actually a pretty stacked team, to be honest with you. We have our work cut out for us if we want to make it our Super Bowl destiny here this season. Let's go. Let's go, man. My quarterback had 40 touchdowns. Mark Sanchez had like 29. They should not be able to hang with us, but maybe this is just going to be another Super Bowl where the other team's defense is just ridiculous. We went against the Ravens, so they're known for that. But at least we get the first touchdown. We're leading. We have a lead in the Super Bowl. That is a first. We're holding the Jets as well, the 2 field goal attempts. So if we could keep just getting touchdowns, then holding them to field goals, that is a recipe for success. We have to settle for a field goal there. They get the go-ahead touchdown. We get a quick touchdown before the end of the first half. And to open up the second half, we settle for a field goal to get a nice 7-point touchdown buffer lead. Jets get a field goal. Our defense is really holding their own right now. That is a lot. I think they got 4 field goals for the Jets, 5 field goals for the Jets. Literally asking our MVP candidate quarterback to do something. Can he go and win this game for us? He gets the touchdown, 1-point lead, 30 seconds remaining. And I think we have done just enough. The Super Bowl is going to the Motor City. It took an outrageous Jets team making the Super Bowl on the other end. Year 7 of 10. I mean, we're going to keep going. We're doing the full 10. If we can make a dynasty, we will. But I'm very happy. And we're going to go through, we're going to let all the motions and emotions play through right here because I don't know if we're going to win another Super Bowl. And this is, you know, for the longest time, doing all these rebuilds since Madden 17. The one team that is impossible. They never win, is the Detroit Lions. So actually being able to win one, maybe that's why. Maybe Detroit just can't win one in a 5-year period. Just got to go to a 7-year period. Your MVP, oh my God, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns for Matthew Stafford. He is your Super Bowl MVP. Absolutely deserved. And as much as we were getting ready to roast him there, when we needed a touchdown at the end of the game, he got it for us. Even though our defense was outstanding, holding the Jets to field goal after field goal after field goal after field goal. I think they had 6 field goals. That is a massive kudos for our defense. Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, when we needed it, they gave it to us. And there, it is not a dream. It is fantasy because this is fake in a video game. But the Detroit Lions are Super Bowl champions, and we still got 4 more years to try and build this thing into a dynasty before Megatron hangs it up, before Matt Stafford hangs it up. Thankfully, though, we got at least one, your Super Bowl champions, Detroit Lions. For this free agency, defending Super Bowl champions, we're going to go a little bit light again. You know, we tried going last year with Khalil Mack. We got burned. So let's just keep our money in-house. For this draft, looking at where we're at, we could potentially look at wide receiver. I didn't pick up the 5th-year option for Sterling Shepard. We could look at the right-hand side of the offensive line. If there's a guard or tackler, Sims and Sherless could retire any season. And on the defensive side of the ball, we need a free safety. I'm not going to go with Fuller there. So free safety is probably our biggest need. And then I would say wide receiver or right-hand side of the offensive line. One of the wide receivers that are left, we have, you know, obviously steals in the second, third round if we want to wait that round. You know, I think we're going to wait and just see if when it comes around to pick 32 in the second round, Metcalf or Renfro over there, we'll put the trigger. On the offensive line, there's not much. We have Dennis Daly, Drew Samia, Bobby Evans. Again, you know, maybe just chill and wait. Could have went Titus Howard. He was actually a pick at that spot. But look at the safeties that are available. We have Mike Edwards here. He's solid enough that I think we could pull the trigger. Monty Hooker's more of a scheme. You know, let's go with Monty Hooker. He's more of a scheme fit. Has that A-zone coverage. The scouting says go with him. We'll go, you know, he'd be the guy we'd pick if there's regular. He's normal dev. Hopefully decent rating. I think this is going to be a light draft. We have Riley Ridley or Juwan Winfrey if we want to look at wide receivers, which is not great. Dennis Daly is I don't know why it's all weird because like Jonah Williams was a first round pick, but for the nature of just how things are laying out, guard or tackle, it's pretty much Drew Samia or we go with Dennis Daly, just trying to keep the same rules. I think we'll just go Dennis Daly and see what happens. Yeah, take a look at the draft recap. Maybe the computer hooked us up because we did nothing. Monty Hooker, at least he's decent, 70 normal dev. Dennis Daly, 64. We got Caden Smith, 62. Jermaine Pratt, 75 hidden dev. Where did that come from? I'm not going to complain. We don't need him. He's going to be a very good depth piece. Clayton Thorson, Coleman Shelton, and Kyron Brown. Thanks to the computer for at least throwing us a bone there. Jermaine Pratt getting a juiced rating in the 4th round. So yeah, at least there's a little bit of a dub from this draft class. Year 8, Detroit Lions. Megatron has actually regressed a little bit, but you know, progress. Tavon Austin is now a superstar X Factor. So that is pretty awesome. Billy Price there still doing his damn thing at center. On the defensive side of things, we're going to give Hooker the opportunity to earn and develop himself there as our starting free safety. That's really the only change to be had. Eddie Jackson went after a superstar. Kind of cool. But again, looking to defend our Super Bowl title, I think this team has more than enough talent to run it back. So for free agents here, gonna go, you know, we got McAfee. I think Jarvis Jones, even though he went up superstar, he hasn't really played up to the level outside of that year that was his contract year. So I actually assume because this is a contract year, he has a big season. But I'd rather maybe get a little bit younger at pass rusher. So we extended Kendall Fuller. We're gonna bring back Rob Sims and Godser Shareless on 1-year deals. And I also gave Sterling Shepard, even though I didn't pick up his 5th-year option, that's not bad, $27 million over 3 seasons for a guy that is always around or gets 1,000 yards. So at the end of our Madden 19 season, I'm already saying right now, someone you might be picking this. I feel like I've messed up the draft classes already. Like I messed up the order, I skipped a year, or I didn't do them. Like I'm using the wrong classes for every year. This is maybe I'm also good. I don't know. I just got this feeling every time I think about the draft class, like did I skip a year? So if anyone else there is for sure knowing that, I recognize it right at this point, and it won't happen again. Or we're actually on the money, we're where we need to be, and everything is fine. We went 11-6 here in our Madden 19 season. Runners up yet again to Green Bay. Doesn't matter. We won the Super Bowl as the 2 seed. Looking at the stats this season, actually not seeing any of our dudes outside of Tavon Austin up there. Oh, Slay with the 5 picks. That looks good. Matt Stafford, I would say starting to slow down a tad. 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, pretty good. Still got Best there doing the damn thing. 14-8 Tavon, 12, almost 13-5 for Calvin Johnson. On the defensive side, 137 tackles, 3 interceptions for Manti Te'o, 14 sacks on Ndamukong Suh, 13 for Fairley, 11 for Levy, 11 and 15 for Jarvis Jones. Of course, he had to have a ball here like that. 5 picks. What a big play, Slay. I love seeing that. He might got DB of the year. But as you can see, we've had like top 5 offenses. Now we're 15th. So a little bit of a drop off. Wow, Khalil Mack 2nd in MVP voting. Kudos to him. Looking for our Detroit Lions. I feel like for sure. There's no way Kyler Murray was playing in the 2019 season. I think we messed up on draft class. I think I missed a draft class. So we might have to slightly modify the opening episode of the series. But that's what happens. Sometimes mistakes happen. We're just going to keep on pressing on. And we're going to go till we have no draft classes left. So, yeah. 11-6. Can we defend our Super Bowl title? Add another playoff win to the belt. And we're 1 and done as we fall 24-21 to the Atlanta Falcons in a matchup that Matt Stafford played very well. Matt Ryan just kept his team in it. They played a little bit better. Ran the ball slightly better. They had Julio Jones in his prime versus someone like Megatron, who's slightly out of his prime. For free agency, we're going to be active. We're going to go a little bit lighter. We're going to look at the right tackle spot. Taylor Decker, very, very low bid, but we had to come in and definitely trump what the supposed fair offer is for an 81 star dev tackle. That's 27. We're going to try to get him on a 2-year, $7.7 million deal. So going into this draft, we need pass rusher, safety, tackle, or guard. So really, last year's draft, we didn't get anyone long-term. There's safeties, Xavier McKinney, Jeremy Chin. There are pass rushers that we need. We got Josh Uche. We can look at Zach Bond. You can look at Justin Madubuike, or you could, not much. What about tackles and guards, C4? Well, we got Robert Hunt. Can't get worse for some reason because it's incorrect, even though we know he's a first-round pick. But that's fine. You got Ruiz. That's definitely an upgrade at guard. Or you can look at Matt Hennessy. That's an upgrade at guard. Or we're going to go with the pick that we're going to make, the big ticket, Mekhi Becton. Yes, sir. There is. Why? Where's the dev trait? I thought he had like a superstar dev trait his rookie season. What? All right, so for pass rush, we're going to try and swing here on a Florida Gator. We're going to look at John Grenard, who's actually kind of caught on for the Houston Texans as of late. I don't know, man. I can't believe Becton doesn't have a dev, though. What a bummer. And take a look at our draft. Well, Mekhi Becton is at least an 80 overall. 65 for Grenard. The computer hooked us up with Isaiah Rodgers. Jordan Love in the 4th round. Is he in dev? Normal dev for Jordan Love. I guess we have a potential success for Stafford if he shockingly retires. We got Quintez Cephas Hive way out in the 6th round. But at least Becton with no dev trait is still a outstanding rookie. So our squad in year 9 kind of looks like this. So what the plan is eventually Becton will move to left tackle. Pete will take over for Sims at guard, because Pete has played some guard. I actually think he's a full-time guard right now for the Saints. No other changes on the offense, just a little bit of regression there for Megatron. On the defensive side, Manti Te'o is now up to a superstar X Factor. We're going to keep Hooker there. Obviously, weren't able to get the pass rusher we were looking for, unfortunately. So I guess we're going to go Haynes as a pass rusher there. Again, just let Ndamukong Suh do his job. We're getting sticklered a little bit on our contracts, but our plan here remains the same. We got Megatron locked up. We're going to come back to the table with DeAndre Levy. We got Zach Cunningham on the board here. He wasn't happy with the contract. We'll get him locked up. We'll get Javid Best locked up. We'll let Gabe Jackson. That's a tough one. One of those ones we let him walk. He's probably going to be the best available guard. All these guys want more money. Good God. Eddie Jackson wants more money. We did get Nick Fairley, who's been, rating-wise, not crazy, but he's simmed very, very well. And we'll probably have to let Sims and James Conner walk. At the end of year 9, this is our 4th straight year of going 11-6, and things have definitely been better if you're a Chicago Bears fan. But this is our 2nd NFC North title. Very happy to achieve that. Matt Stafford balled out again. He's unstoppable, man. I'm so happy that he's been everything that I was kind of expecting. But then again, we started with a 22 X Factor quarterback that was in his 90s. He should have been good. 5,100 yards, 40 touchdowns for Matt Stafford. We have, average rushing attack. We're a passing offense. 111 receptions for Megatron, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. 12-8 for Tavon Austin. And 2 very close to 1,000-yard seasons out of Sterling Shepard and Devin Funchess. Zach Cunningham led the team, 146 tackles, 16.5 sacks on Ndamukong Suh, 11.5 DeAndre Levy, 7 from Manti Te'o. So getting some pressure from our linebackers. And big play, Slay led our team yet again with 5 interceptions. Yearly awards MVP went to Matthew Stafford, his 2nd MVP win of the rebuild. He's also Offensive Player of the Year. He's also Quarterback of the Year. And that is all it stands for our player awards. But that's about as good as it freaking gets. Would have been nice. We've yet to get a first-round bye for how down we've been. But it's time to take down Cam Newton and the 98 Carolina Panthers here in our Madden 20 season. And we do get the win, 31-24. I don't even care about looking at it. Let's just keep going, man. Let's just keep going. If we look, we slow down, we lose our momentum, we are rocking, we are rolling. NFC Championship game against the 9-8 Seattle Seahawks. I just assume Matt Stafford's absolutely playing out of his mind. And unfortunately, we crash and burn. The wheels fall off in the championship game. 31-23 against Seattle. Teddy Bridgewater had a great game. Matt Stafford, the MVP, did not play like the MVP. And unfortunately, into our second to last season, it didn't work out. And I say that because it's technically 11 years. Here's some math knowledge for you. We started Madden 12, and you go to Madden 22, that's 10. But if you actually play them, it's 11 years. So I think for that Madden 22 season, that bonus, we're going to view that as a bonus 11 year for rebuilds, that if like we're going into year 10, we don't win that Super Bowl, that 11th year could be that like bonus you've yet to win a Super Bowl type season, which we've already won the Super Bowl. So now it is time to gear up for our Madden 21 into 22 season, which is next year, our final year of this rebuild. No. No. Why? I mean, we got more use out of him than the Vines did in real life, but end of an era, man. This is why. Also, another reason why we're making this upcoming year our last year is this is our last draft class of real players that we have this upcoming draft. But, well, at least we know right now, glaring need is wide receiver. Thank you for everything you've done, Megatron. You were an absolute GOAT. You averaged 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns a season for 9 years. I appreciate that. To gear up for our final free agency, we're, I'm not going to say we're doing realistic rebuild. We're not going to try to just sign everybody, but I think we're being more than aggressive enough for what we need. Wow, I didn't actually see Best regress that badly. Eugh. Because we drafted him, maybe we give James Conner an opportunity to be the starter for a year. Bring him back. But other than that, we're looking at Cooper Kupp. We have a lot of money because Calvin Johnson retired. So I'm going to take that Calvin Johnson money, try to throw it to Cooper Kupp so we can go Kupp, Tavon Austin, Sterling Shepard for a wide receiver core. I'm going to look for Kenny Vaccaro, 85 star dev, to represent almost a 10-point upgrade at free safety. We'll bring in James Conner. I'm going to bring in Zadarius Smith. Not nearly as good as he ended up in real life, but he's still a 79 star dev. And he can play on the left defensive end side, so don't have to go with Haynes as our other starter. But also, still, we could look in the draft for a pass rusher or, say, a wide receiver if Cooper Kupp wants to go to the Raiders or Eagles. And awesome, able to get all of our free agency targets to try and, look at this, 93s across the board to try and get a second Super Bowl win. All I'm going to say is that this year, the last draft class isn't right. It isn't right. You know what I'm saying? Not exactly what we're looking for. In terms of pictures, things were so good. And the wheels have absolutely fallen off. So, I'll take Landon Dickerson. We'll take Landon Dickerson. So what happened here, I could be wrong, is that the downside, I'm using a mod. That's how I get all the retro portraits, is that the mod probably doesn't work with this draft class. So like the Landon Dickerson portrait that's in the game was replaced by whoever that is. Like I'm not sure of any of, that's Ike Taylor. So like Dylan Redunds has been replaced by Ike Taylor because most people that are doing this aren't going all the way to 2021. If I had to just guess. So this draft class is what it is. It doesn't, none of these guys are going to play. None of these guys are going to feature. But I'll definitely troubleshoot this one and make sure and see if I can fix it for future rebuilds. So here is our year 10 Detroit Lions team. I was able to just go and we'll change Dickerson's face up in case there is no other workaround. But this is the team, man. I feel pretty good with it. We got Taylor Decker. Ended up being a line at the end of the day. We got Funches making the transition to the tight end. Tavon Austin, career revival, success. Javid Best, career revival, success. We got Matt Stafford, who's been a god. And we go from Calvin Johnson retiring to getting the second best wide receiver Matt Stafford's ever had. This is obviously the year that they did last year. Him and Kupp are unstoppable. So that's kind of cool. That kind of came full circle. And on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to throw Zadarius Smith in as a pass rusher. I'm glad that Suh, DeAndre Levy, they're going to be able to run the gauntlet, go the full rebuild. Manti Te'o has been very good. Obviously, Slay has been an absolute beast. I would have wished I knew. You never know. That's the downside with retirement. If a guy retires, you should be able to still click his player and go look at his stats. Because I would love to see what Megatron actually did for us. But we know what he did for us, all right? We know what he did without knowing what he did. So here we go. Year 10. Can we win our second Super Bowl? We're going to try our best. At least we got a chance. Wasn't our cleanest year, but we finished 8-9, second place in the NFC North, but still somehow made the playoffs, which is, we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. Matt Stafford still playing at a high level. You can tell he's getting out there in age a little bit. 4,900 passing yards, 36 touchdowns. Running attack was not really there. Definitely missing Megatron, but the guys tried their best. 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns, Tavon Austin. 11 and 18 for Sterling Shepard. 9 yards shy of 1,000 for Funchess. 8-5 for Cooper Kupp. And on the defense side of the ball, 147 tackles for Zach Cunningham. 17 sacks at Ndamukong Suh. 14 for DeAndre Levy. 8 from Nick Fairley. 7.5 Zadarius Smith. 4 picks Fuller. 4 picks Fuller. 3 picks Manti Te'o. We will look at the players that are still in the squad's career stats in just 1 second, just to see what they've done. Dwayne Haskins in the Eagles. RIP, MVP. Congrats on the 5-12 Eagles. So he had to be an absolute god. Looking for our beloved Detroit Lions. Sterling Shepard is wide receiver of the year. Kind of cool. Very quick look here at the career stats just to see everything that's gone down. Matt Stafford, as of right now, 52,000 passing yards, 385 touchdowns, 201 interceptions. That's a Hall of Fame resume. We have 9K and 122 touchdowns for Jarvis Best. Hell of a career for him. Receiving, we got Tavon Austin, 849 receptions, 11,000 yards, 80 touchdowns. That's, debatably MVP. Look at Jarvis Best crushing it. There's no way that's true. That's just, that's because he's probably, any player that wasn't drafted by me is definitely, some old player, like the stats aren't going to track. But anyone that was drafted should be accurate. Funchess is at 6K, 41 touchdowns, 5,700 yards there for Sterling Shepard, 44 touchdowns. That's cool. Defensively, DeAndre Levy, 1,200 tackles, 94 sacks. We have 177. Oh my God. If Ndamukong Suh could play like 2-3 more years, he'd have the overall sack record, which is phenomenal. 71 sacks there for Nick Fairley, 25 picks for Darius Slay, 15 for Kyle Fuller. This is always one of the cooler parts of the rebuilds, like looking back and seeing what these guys have done, in the re-simmed career. But, the reason why we're doing this trip down memory lane is we're probably not going on much of a playoff run. So let's remember the good times and not what, we're probably past our prime at this point. We never know. Maybe we can go on a run. Who knows? No. We get reminded right away that this is the end of the video by getting, handled by the better Seattle Seahawks team. They still got Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves. He's actually been pretty damn good. He's won them a lot of football games. So that is how this one is going to unfortunately end. So we finish our first retro flashback rebuild with the Detroit Lions. 10 seasons from Madden 12 into Madden 22 with a overall record 100 wins, 70 losses. We have 11 playoff wins to 7 playoff losses. And we have a Super Bowl victory, which we beat the Jets in Madden 18. That's just the easiest way to refer to the numbers. In Madden 18, we beat the Jets. In Madden 16, we went to the Super Bowl, and we lost to the Baltimore Ravens. Matthew Stafford in the 2015 Madden 15 season was an MVP. Matthew Stafford in the Madden 20 season was an MVP. That is a 2-time MVP. You could say between Jarvis Best, Tavon Austin, Devin Funchess to a degree on the offensive side of the ball, guys that were underwhelming to bust territory, they've had great careers. On the defensive side, not so much. We got pretty lucky with a lot of these players. You could say Manti Te'o was almost a Heisman winner on the defensive side of the ball. Didn't have much of an NFL career, fake girlfriend, all that stuff. We made him into an absolute beast. And Ndamukong Suh, straight up legendary. And obviously, you can't forget what happened with Megatron. Megatron was super good. And I'm very happy with how this rebuild has turned out. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. This video took me like 3 days to record, get everything right. I hope you guys, again, new series, a little bit of a series to roll into the Madden 23 season. So I hope you guys did enjoy it, something a little bit different. And if you did, the way I know you enjoyed is comment for the algorithm. Let me know anything you like about the video. Let me know what team you want to see next in our flashback rebuild. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the idea of this series, you want to see more of this series. All those things go a very, very long way, and I very much appreciate it because it also helps out my channel. But that'll do for me today, guys. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if it's your first time stopping by and you enjoyed this video, or you just want to hop on the train right before the Madden 23 season. All those options are terrific options to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Peace out.